Hello, folks. Can y'all hear me? Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? We're doing good? Just give me 1 second, folks. I just have to check something. I just need to turn my mic off and then I'll be right back. All right. Sorry about that. Let's see who's in the chat. Hello, Andrea, Caroline, Connie Balmer, Heather, Vanessa Jones. Hey. Hey, Joyce Anderson. All right, a few stories to get through today, so let's get to it. Man, I'm really loving Restream. I'm really loving this new program I'm using, and I hope you're liking it too. Do continue to give me feedback on how everything sounds and how it's like on your end watching. Thank you for everyone who gave me feedback yesterday. I think the ads during live stream, I think it was put on the highest setting, and apparently that it was really, really aggressive. So I won't put the highest setting on ads during lives again. I will keep it to medium. So you will get ads, but it's not going to be as aggressive because it from a creator's perspective. I can see it on the back end. It says like high ad setting, but I didn't know actually how bad it, because I don't see it. I didn't know how bad it was. So thank you for letting me know. I do actually appreciate that, and I always appreciate the feedback. Great. So let's get into today's top stories. First and foremost, Cookie Queens. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets nominated. At least nominated for a Golden Globe and an Oscar. I don't know, because I don't know what the scope of documentary filmmaking has been the last year, and given everything that's going on politically the last year, I can imagine the scope of it and the quality of it has been pretty darn high. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was at least nominated. At least nominated. It's really been getting a lot of positive attention and feedback. And the numbers are in. So from August 1st to 16th, debuting at number 5, well over 300,000, which for a documentary is brilliant. So much so that Page Six wanted the Sussexes to disappear after Cookie Queens. Mind you, Cookie Queens is blowing up in the US. I don't even think it has a UK release date. And it will probably, if it does get released in other countries, it'll probably be very, very limited. This is a very American-centered movie. So actually, Page Six should be a little bit more supportive. Like, what the heck? Anyway, this year's Best Documentary Oscar winner was Mr. Nobody Against Putin. The documentary's box office opening was around just over $4,000. It eventually made just over 600,000 during its theatrical run. For comparison, Cookie Queen's opening weekend box office was over 350,000, and so far in its 2-week domestic run, it has made over 500,000. Just for comparison's sake, wow! So it's probably going to do even better. It's only been out for 2 weeks. Many people enjoy documentaries, but very few documentaries are major successes at the box office. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex executive produced Cookie Queens through their Archwell Productions, and Meghan made several appearances at screenings and Q&A sessions. She's done everything an executive producer is supposed to do, and the doc is having a modest success at the box office. Instead of saying that, royal commentators and royal reporters have now become self-styled box office experts, and they're trying to make Cookie Queens is a box office flop into a thing. Now Page Six is running an exclusive with that deranger Kinsey Schofield. Oh my God, I don't even pay attention to Kinsey Schofield. They're still interviewing her, saying, I would tell them to disappear professionally for a while. I mean, the only people who would want Harry and Meghan to disappear professionally for a while are Kensington Palace and Buckingham Palace. Just absolute. I'm not even going to read the whole thing because she goes on and on and on, flapping her gums. Kinsey Schofield is the one that needs to disappear professionally. She's like the Bethany Frankel of this royal space. Bethany Frankel also adopted this ridiculous advisor role where she repeatedly rants about what the Sussexes need to do, what Meghan needs to do. Ugh. We do not need the opinions of people like her. How do these people still stay in the job as well? It's like, who is specifically looking for Kinsey Schofield's opinion? Like, why is she still there? Like, this is the best they have? Anyway, Cookie Queens is having an amazing run. Please go and see if it's in a theatre near you. Take your friends, take your girlies, take your husband, take your boyfriend, take the dog if he's allowed in the theatre. Buy him a ticket too. You watch my Instagram. Thank you so much. I might actually repost that short Instagram that I posted. People reacted very well to it. I was talking about Jason Arde, but I'm actually going to do a much more detailed video about that on my travel channel, as it relates to a lot of my feelings about moving out of the UK. Because it's moments like this where you just go, if this is how it is now, how much bad is it going to get in 10 years, 20 years? Electra, you said, if Cookie Queens gets an Oscar on the rotor, we'll be eating glass. You know what? They're actually not going to be eating glass. You know what they're going to do? They're going to book a ticket to come to LA and try and stalk Meghan during Oscar weekend. That's what they're going to do. And if it is nominated for an Oscar and some other award shows, well, you'll have Meghan showing up to award shows, maybe even showing up to, there's so many dinners and whatnot and stuff leading up to the award shows. Hi, Loris. Thank you so much from listening in at work. Glad to keep you entertained. 9 to 5 grind is hard. Glad to help. Do you have Girl Scouts in the UK? We do, but it's not like a cultural thing the way it is in the US. But yeah, we do. Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. Marilyn, you saw the movie. It was lovely. I mean, all the reviews that are coming in, everybody's saying that it's just a nice, heartwarming film, which is what I think it's meant to be. A celebration of the young ladies showcasing their skills, but also I think a celebration of something that's very central to American culture. Just a feel-good movie. What we need right now. All right. Well done to the young ladies and to Archwell Productions. Next, some briefing from the Daily Fail about Diana's the anniversary of Diana's death. Now, the last few weeks, royalists have been really focused on Prince William and how William is still in his feelings about Harry. I mean, when will William ever get out of his feelings about Harry? I mean, it's been a stale storyline for years, but it's always interesting when there's a renewed focus on William's rage baby feelings seemingly coming out of nowhere. And I do wonder, is it William's courtiers briefing about this, or are the royal commentators poking William with a Prince Harry shaped stick? I think a little bit of both. And according to commentator Phil Dampier, William is already looking ahead to next year's 30th anniversary of Princess Diana's death, and William has no interest in marking the anniversary with Harry. One moment, folks. I feel like I have a frog in my throat. Like literally, there's a frog in my throat, and I cannot get it down. Okay, so regardless of any hurt feelings that might come in the way, Prince Harry and William are said to have made a lifelong pledge to honor their late mother. Well, I don't know if I can believe that, especially given that this is coming from the Daily Fail, when you had William calling his mother paranoid. And I feel like even at this event that they had to unveil the statue of Diana, you could tell that it was very, very tense. Very tense. So, I mean, the 30th anniversary. I mean, I feel like Diana has they have the statue. I don't know what do you guys think that they would do if they were to do anything? Do you think they'll have some kind of ceremony? Maybe something to do with the Diana Foundation? Whatever it is, I can imagine William wanting to do everything to avoid being near Harry. I just think William is so consumed and jealous of his brother. Even his mother wouldn't be able to stir him to do something decent, because even on this day, you could see the tension. You could see even with Diana's family. William has always had rage with Harry. If you saw them as kids, he was a real We've all seen that. You know the video of Diana and Harry and William with the bunny rabbit, and then I think they offered William the bunny rabbit, and then he didn't want it, but then Harry wanted it, and that's when he got into a tantrum. Such a shame. Never had to be like this at all, but you know, when it all comes down to it, is just such a ridiculous level of jealousy, and you think, for what? Anyway, in the establishment is continuing to protect nonsense news. Charles apparently invited Andrew to stay at Balmoral after the family leaves. Now, obviously, Princess Eugenie gave birth to her third child last week, and Buckingham Palace confirmed that, issuing a statement about, Charles and Camilla's delight over the news. And the same thing happened with Eugenie's pregnancy announcement, which also came via Buckingham Palace. And many people noted that whatever Prince Andrew has on his brother is significant enough that Charles goes out of his way to extend generosity to Andrew's daughters. I mean, I feel like they both have a lot of crap on each other. And if they don't cater to Andrew, Andrew becomes a loose cannon. So it sometimes looks like Charles is nicer to his nieces than his own sons. And there's probably some kind of blackmail reason for that. And with that, Charles has allegedly extended an invitation to Balmoral for Andrew. I mean, Andrew is still very much being protected. Whatever so-called investigation the police are doing, I haven't heard anything about it. I haven't heard any updates. What are they even investigating exactly? Which allegations? What leads are they taking? Are they speaking to victims? I mean, you had the other week Kay Burley live on air saying Andrew was a war hero. And I haven't actually followed up with that whole Kay Burley thing. She needs to be fired. You know, it just feels like earlier today there was an announcement, absolutely shocking. Hayden Paternoster, the actress, passed away. Somebody who was basically just used by her family. You know, she was pushed into the spotlight to make her family money. Used by her mother, used by her partners, used by, you know, the Hollywood pimps and madams, allegedly. You know, she spoke about recently on Jay Shetty. I'm not the biggest fan of Jay Shetty, but that interview that he did with Hayden, it was almost like that was like a gift from the universe, so she could tell her side of the story. You know, she had a book out. She talked about her addiction issues, her losing custody of her kid, and it just seems like it's like the nicest souls seem to be taken advantage of. She talked about someone in Hollywood, someone who she considered a friend, you know, basically like pimping her out to another friend. And it just seems like the nicest souls seem to go and be hounded and haunted. But the Prince Andrews of the world are protected, and it's very infuriating. It is so infuriating. I hope I live long enough to see the Andrews of the world get their comeuppance, because we're losing too many nice ones and too many good ones, and the absolute nonces are just so protected. It's infuriating. Anyway, sorry, I went off on a little bit of a tangent there. Anyway, Andrew, you know, he was arrested. When was it? February? Still apparently being investigated for being a sleazy degenerate. But Charles is set to extend an olive branch, I guess we could call it, to Andrew. Now, Andrew still remains largely absent from official royal events, obviously following the fallout of all the things that we know about. I feel like I still get the sense with Andrew, it's like they're just waiting for the dust to settle. I actually don't think that they're going to keep Andrew out of the picture. They should. But it's like, oh no, we're just going to do whatever we want. And actually keeping Andrew front and center in itself sends a message. It's like, we're so powerful, we can do whatever we want. And it's not like you lot go marching down the palace with tiki torches, throwing rocks. Anyway. And I actually think that's part of it. Part of protecting Andrew is like shoving it in people's faces. Oh, well, if you're not going to physically do anything anyway, if you're not going to go marching down to the palace anyway, well, we might as well just do what we want. And I totally believe this. I think that Charles has genuinely let Andrew know that Andrew is welcome to come to Scotland and stay in one of the lodges, or maybe even the big house. And it looks terrible for the family, but again, like I said, if the British public aren't going to do anything, Andrew's going to continue to be protected. I mean, these days, most of the family just put in their appearances for a week at the most and then spend the rest of their summers elsewhere. Andrew, I feel like, actually does like Balmoral. I can imagine him just liking to disappear in Scotland, golfing and hunting. And another thing that I just wanted to touch on, just to show you a side by side of the extent to which the establishment will protect who it wants to protect. Just touching on the passing of Dr. Jason Arday. These are two separate articles from Spectator. Was the hounding of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, has it gone too far? And Professor Arday is the gift that keeps giving. Electro, you said, make sure to talk about the elephants named after Lily and Archie. I spoke about that in yesterday's podcast. And the money took from Centre Ballet. So you can watch yesterday's replay. I spoke about that. Very, very sweet, though. So I just want to read this article from Feminagra before we round up. Do I have the screenshots on the... I don't think I have it on the screen. But this is from Feminagra, and they speak about the double standard in the way that the press hounds some people but not others. So there is a pattern in British media coverage that becomes harder to ignore the more you look at it. When certain public figures face intense scrutiny, their welfare becomes part of the conversation. I am actually going to do a proper follow-up on the Jason Arday case, and one of the most disturbing things about this that we are now finding out, the Times was running ads on a tweet to push engagement about Jason Arday. So you can now be a relatively ordinary person. Jason was just a professor, albeit at Cambridge, but he became a political symbol. You can now be a relatively ordinary person and become a political symbol in these people's games of sowing racial division and media games. That is actually frightening, because this is no longer even about celebrities and royals anymore. As a person, if you become a political symbol, they will do this to you. That is very frightening. Because what do you mean you're running ads on articles about me? Since when? And it also shows you, and I'm going to get into this in the podcast that I do about Jason Arday and the British media, because it links back to something else that we've seen with Meghan. It's about the money and the clicks and the views. They literally don't see people as humans, especially when you're a person of color. That's actually one of the first times I think I've seen anything like that. They were running ads on an article about him. And I think that particular ad was seen over 250,000 times or something like that. It's terrifying, folks. I personally feel, some people might think this is a bit of a controversial take. If you can afford it, and you've got some kind of remote income, you've got investments, you've got passive income, I would be looking to move out of the UK. And if you're not prepared to pack your bags and go, at least planting some kind of second flag, diversifying your income, additional residency, so the UK becomes like an option amongst somewhere else that you could go. Because I find all of this to be so terrifying, and I feel like people aren't even like actually seeing potentially where this could go. And then that's before we even get into any of the other issues, social, political, economic, going on in the UK. Anyway, we'll talk about that more when I do that next podcast. So when certain public figures face intense scrutiny, their welfare becomes part of the conversation. The press and broadcasters pause, express concern, and debate whether the coverage has gone too far. For others, that same moment never arrives. The cases are not identical, the allegations are different, but the contrast is how vulnerability is treated raises an uncomfortable question. When does the British media decide enough is enough? I mean, a lot of the times, enough is enough only when you're dead. We've seen that over and over and over again. Philip Schofield was hounded until his welfare mattered. In May 2023, Philip Schofield left ITV after an unwise but not illegal affair with a younger male colleague. The scandal was intense. Schofield had lied to his employers, his colleagues, and the public, and the coverage was relentless. But then something shifted. ITV chief executive Dame Carolyn McCall told MPs that Schofield had been hounded and that he was very concerned about his welfare. She disclosed that ITV was paying for Schofield to receive counselling. She had spoken to him personally and said she was extremely concerned about the young man involved because of the level of intrusion in his life is unbelievably awful. McCall did not defend Schofield's actions. She acknowledged the affair was deeply inappropriate, but she also made it clear that the human cost of the coverage mattered. The broadcaster did not simply report the story and move on. It publicly acknowledged that scrutiny had reached the point where welfare had to be considered. I mean, this is the same ITV that, had Piers Morgan on day in, day out, and some of the other correspondents on that show, bashing Harry and bashing Meghan. But when it came to Philip Schofield, all of a sudden we have to think about people's mental health. This was not a minor gesture. ITV's leadership went on the record in front of MPs to argue that the intensity of the scrutiny had become a welfare concern. Prince Andrew can face scrutiny and still be treated as human. Why? You even had Jeremy Vine talking about how Prince Andrew is being used as a lightning rod for the anger people feel. I mean, why not? Why can't we use Prince Andrew as a lightning rod for the anger that we feel? A prominent member of the British royal family was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. Why can't we use him as a lightning rod for our anger? Why can't we also be angry at the establishment for protecting him? Why not? So this is useful evidence because it shows that mental health itself became part of the editorial discussion about whether continued scrutiny was proportionate. Andrew was not defended on the merits of his conduct. He was defended on the grounds that the coverage might be doing harm. When it comes to someone like Andrew, I really couldn't care less if the coverage was doing harm. Because the likes of Andrew actually deserve to be hounded. Some people actually do deserve to be hounded. Criminals deserve to be hounded. People who harm others deserve to be hounded. Shirley, you said the UK press are already attacking squaddies. I mean, at one point, if you've been around the squad long enough, at one point we were Russian and Chinese bots. Do you remember this? When we were Russian and Chinese bots? That's what they were saying about us. That we were being paid by Harry and Meghan. Oh, they've been attacking us. Sams, you said, I thought the same for the US. In the UK, it might be best to leave if you can. The black community is smaller and might be more vulnerable. I mean, the US, it's not even a question. hey. I mean, I would say even the Orange Man's first election, going way back. Let me tell you something. There's some people on YouTube who I follow, social political commentators, a decade ago, decade plus, even before Trump was ever elected, even before his name came into the political cycle, who were saying leave the US. Because they literally saw something like Trump coming. And there were people I've been watching on YouTube who were saying this a decade well before. Like, there was something that they could see that apparently the rest of us couldn't see at the time. Some people could actually see this coming, which is quite remarkable. But for sure, if you can leave the US, even if it's temporary, especially if you're a woman, if I was a woman and I was living in the United States, I'd be planning my exit. Heck, I would have done everything to leave already. In fact, at this point, you're probably better off leaving the US, coming to the UK, taking some respite, and then moving somewhere else. I follow a lot of American citizens who are leaving. I hear where I am in Bali. So many Americans that have left the Orange Man's that have left because the Orange Man is there. Some of them hope to come back if he's taken out of office. Some of them are like, nope, never coming back. If you actually follow my travel channel, I'm actually going to be doing a video on the top 10 content creators that you can follow if you're an American citizen and looking to leave. And I'm actually putting together a resource guide on this. So, but yeah, when I look at situations like the Jason Arday case, I can see where a lot of people in the UK press establishment on the further right side of the political aisle, a lot of them are actually being influenced by MAGA, which is quite frightening. I remember it was like a day or two after that podcaster who got shot, and I was walking through town and I saw people like it was like a whole bunch of like far right British people, but there were also people with MAGA hats. So it's frightening times. Helen, you said, Sam, it's absolutely fine to come to the UK. There are plenty of towns, villages, and cities to go besides London. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying don't come and visit the UK. There is so much to see and do in the UK. The UK is a beautiful country. What I'm saying and what I'm personally referring to is, as a citizen who wants to live a particular quality of life, I don't see it as somewhere where I want to live long term. But am I saying don't come and visit the UK? If you can visit the UK and if you have the budget for the UK, because it is expensive, absolutely come and see it. There's so much to see and do. If it wasn't so expensive, I would be a tourist in my own country a lot more often. We have coastal islands that have penguins on them. I mean, it's just the nature in villages and history. Of course, the UK is incredible. I'm speaking more of a perspective of, the type of lifestyle that I want to live and where I see the country going social politically in 10, 20 years. I wouldn't want to be around as a citizen, is what I'm saying. Shirley, you're planning on leaving the US. Good for you. Good for you. Shane Conde, an American here on YouTube, helps Black women, Black Americans and women leave the US with her Black Babes Abroad program. There are so many. There's Blexit, not to be confused with Blacksit, that Candace Owens nonsense. This is a different group. This is a group of people who we like, who they're like a whole group of American expats, Black American expats leaving the US. There's Stephanie Perry, Vicarious, Rashida Dow, and they're all in different parts of the world. South America, Southeast Asia. different parts of mainland Europe. So if it's something that you're thinking about, explore it. It's not as out of reach as I think you may think. And the resources and what they put together. Stephanie Perry actually runs the Exodus Summit, which is a get together of Black American women who want to move abroad. I think it's also very useful for Black British women as well. So yeah, if it's something that you've been thinking about, look into it. Tiffany, you said all of this protection by the UK media of certain groups who are accused or have been exposed of wrongdoing have the complexion for protection. That is such a brilliant phrase. Complexion for protection. Do you mind if I steal that? And it's true. I mean, in the case of Jason Arde, there were Cambridge professors who have literally been accused of assault. You go as a young woman to go and get your education, and you have professors assaulting students, professors plagiarizing students, doing all types of things. And you don't even know who their names are. Why? Because they're protected. Electra, you said, I plan on staying in the US because I know it pisses off the artists. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I don't think you should have to leave, by the way. Especially Black Americans. America was built off the back of you. So I'm not saying what I'm saying, that you, I don't believe that you should have to leave. I'm just saying, if you feel it's better for your mental health, your physical health, there are options. Shirley said your husband is French, so I could go there. Yeah, look into it. You've got offers. Shirley, come to Europe. I can get to France, Italy, Switzerland, Austria in a few hours. We are so lucky in the UK to go to Europe. Okay, was there anything else that I wanted to cover? Rambled a bit today, but it's nice to have a little bit of a sidetrack conversation. No. Okay, I think we'll end things there. Thank you so much as always, everyone. Appreciate you. Thank you to, who was it? There was someone who just randomly bought me a coffee in the middle of the day. Oh, it was Arlene. Thank you so much for your 5 coffees. So Arlene, if you're listening, very much appreciate that. All right, folks. Appreciate you all, and we will catch up tomorrow. Ciao.